Hi there, I'm Lisa Taylor, and this is Ideas on Truth. You know that old adage, we were given 2 ears and 1 mouth, that we might listen twice as much as we speak? Well, tonight I wanted to talk to you a little bit about listening. You know, there's a part of a spiritual definition of ears is that ears are for spiritual understanding. And I actually believe this. I've been studying spiritual laws all my life and trying to put into practice the science behind truth consciousness, Christ consciousness, Christian science, the science of the Christ. And, you know, there are times when I feel like I'm just scratching the surface of this stuff. But I will say that with a sense of spiritual understanding, with this desire to study these spiritual laws, it's the effect of that is not so much seen in my life as it is felt inside of me. And I feel a shift in me. And I'm sure those of you who have a spiritual practice or a metaphysical practice, you know, one of the goals I think that we all have in this community is to be better, is to be more godlike, to be more spiritual, to be more loving, to be more generous, more forgiving, and to listen more than we speak. There's so much to be said for listening, and here I am talking, but I'm sharing the concept anyway, trying to. But I think that the shift that occurs when we listen for the truth, when we listen for that still small voice, when we're in the practice of listening for what is right and our highest sense of good and our highest sense of right and our spiritual direction, when we're in the practice of that, we're going to more often than not be led down a better path, and our life will be better, not only for ourselves, but for those around us, and will be more of a blessing to our community and to the world. And I don't know, in my heart, I feel like that's what it's all about, is to love more. So in thinking about listening to that still small voice, listening to the intuitions that come to us, I had an experience recently where I went in to talk with a friend. We had a difficult situation that we needed to discuss. And there are times in the past when that would not have gone as smoothly as it did recently. And in this recent experience, I just felt like I had more ability to hear her heart. And in doing that, it made the conversation go much more smoothly than it would have otherwise. And there was no personal sense. I don't know if you know what I mean by that. There was no sense of ego in the midst of our communication. It really was kind of a heart-to-heart communication, instead of the ego coming in and trying to be defensive or trying to be willful or trying to prove a point or get in the way of true communication, which is always from heart to heart. So I guess my thought tonight is really just to encourage that sense of listening with our heart. Listening not only for the intuition and the still small voice to guide us, but listening for the other person's heart. No matter what the torrent of words is that's coming at you from another person, really listen underneath that and use your spiritual discernment and your spiritual sense to hear what's really going on with the person. You probably all know that story of the man, and this is a true story, but it's been around for a while, so you may have heard it before. The man in the subway who has 2 little children, and he gets on the subway and his children are like bouncing off the walls and running around and causing mischief and sort of disrupting other people, and he's just sitting on the bench in the subway car and not doing anything. And people around him are visibly annoyed at his children kind of causing a ruckus. And he kind of ignores them as they're causing trouble. The next stop, he gets up and he's about to get off with his children and kind of corrals them. And he apologizes to the person who was visibly kind of annoyed by his children being disruptive. And he says, I'm so sorry if my children have been disruptive. Their mother has just died and we're just coming from the hospital. And every time I hear that, it just breaks my heart. It just makes me realize that there are so many times that we have no idea what's going on in other people's lives and why they may be acting the way they are or speaking the way they are, that sometimes feels so personal towards us and feels like such an affront towards us, when in fact it has nothing to do with us at all, and it's not personal in any way, shape, or form. Just like those children misbehaving or being sort of rowdy on the subway had nothing to do with anybody on the subway or them really causing trouble. It was just that they were responding to something that was very difficult for them. And I think if we really listen to people's hearts, we get a glimpse of what's really going on with them, and we're less apt to take something personally or feel offended by something, and more apt to listen and be gentle and be more loving and respond rather than react. So that's my note tonight. Listening twice as much as I'm talking, which I don't do obviously very well in this because it's just one-sided, but I would love to listen to your comments. And please share this if you like the ideas, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and let's make a movement of this. All right. I love you guys.